the podium. So without further ado, Chuck, will you come up here with me? We have a special gift that we'd like to present to Chuck on behalf of the 6th Judicial District, Department of Correctional Services, CCIA, and the Weed and Seed Steering Committee for all the valuable service you've given to our state and to our country. As much as we tried to tell Chuck this was about him, we wanted to give a speech because, as you know, Chuck, he wants to collect all the credit. We're going to give him a chance to speak.
Thank you. Bruce and his staff have put together this wonderful program, and I thank you for the many other things, and we want to recognize you also. We'll get to that in a moment. I want to say thanks to Tim, Amy, for coming here and using their very special talents to keep a program like this moving along and helping us focus in on the need to keep these good programs continuing. Most of the programs are described in the bulletin you have, but I want to mention a couple later. But I want to mention Gary Hinsman, who passed over his real career. No one has mentioned that, but he's a visionary in the whole correctional area. Many of you, most perhaps, don't know that he's nationally and internationally recognized. He goes far beyond what's statutorily called for in monitoring some parole officers, probation officers, and pre-sentence investigators. If you look at the program, there must be 25 or 30 programs he has started, and they go beyond virtually any in the country. He's the past president of the American Probation Parole Association. He's known nationally and is known internationally. He's been asked to speak all the way from Berlin to Australia. So he's a very capable person. We're fortunate to have him in this community. When I was in Liz's position, I had a chance to work with all 8 of the correctional district directors throughout the state. While they're all good, honest, hard-working people watching their parole officers, probation officers, at least at that time, I didn't know of any community that had the kinds of programs that we have here. So I thank you all for being here this evening to help support these programs. And it's about those programs. It's not about me. I can tell you that for sure. I want to say a couple things about my various friends that have commented tonight. And that he's a visionary. And then next was Liz Robinson was very good, and there's just no greater satisfaction in life than recommending someone for an important position and have them work out just as good as your imagination could hope for. And you'll know if the parole board's doing a good job or not. All you have to do is read the paper. And when I see her, she stays out of the paper, that means she's doing a good job. Figured that all out, and she's a great person. Then we heard by Dave Rorter. And Dave is a good friend also, and he proves the point that you go through life, and you may work for a variety of people, and I probably even as many as Al Tomes. You work for a variety of people, you want to always be nice to them, even if they're working for you, because you never know when you may be working for them. I went back and then worked for Dave as the drug policy coordinator for Governor Branstad. Then we did get to Al Tomes, and Al was probably one of the people behind this whole evening, which I could I could live without. Al and I did live together in school. He mentioned Tom Camp, who was here this evening, and they went on to good, big things. Tom, thank you for coming, and Linda. And Tom was an honor student. I wasn't. It kind of helped me all the way through school, which was pretty nice about it. And then was president of the Bar Association, so he's eminently successful, and we're pleased to have you here with us this evening. And then we come to Chuck Jr., and Chuck and I have been fortunate, and I'm blessed because we probably have done as many things together as any father and son, and it's, at least we're still here, and that's all good. It's all working out. So I thank you again for all that you have donated toward this good effort that would not survive well. Although we have federal money from time to time, that does not last forever, and it's going to take your support to keep things continuing on. I want to mention Wayne and Dave Engel, as Chuck did, as probably the kings at selling tables for this evening. But beyond that, as you know, Wayne is an electrician. Now he's a retired electrician, and he led a team of electricians do something that's very important to the criminal justice world as well. He led a team of electricians that went in and rewired 280 homes, about $1.7 million worth of wiring. That's important because that allows the people to move back in and repopulate the neighborhoods. And as all of you that are the criminal justice experts know, a neighborhood that's full of vacant homes is a dangerous neighborhood. So that was very, very important. Thank you, Wayne, for what you've done. I'm just going to mention a couple of the programs that are featured in the bulletin tonight to tell you about them, because otherwise you really don't hear much about them, and you don't have the good leaders on the news now to tell you about those stories. One is the AmeriCorps Vista program that was here. And Gary managed to have as many volunteers here, second only to the city of New York. The volunteers here matched up 8,000. The Vista Corps folks matched up 8,000 volunteers with 1,200 homeowners to rehab and clean up their homes after the flood. Another one that we don't hear about is the Tiger Club. That's a program that is at the Taylor School, and worked with over 400 children that are above the year of four. And then finally, there's the foster grandparent program. Gary mentioned one of the stories, and that's where grandparents that meet a certain qualification then work with young children. And Gary had a very poignant story at Rotary last Monday, and I just want to share two of those little stories with you. This will help you appreciate and understand the programs. There was one boy who was 13 years old, was hospitalized for attempted suicide. His foster grandparent was visiting with him when he was in the hospital and asked him what went wrong. He said, well, my mother wanted my can of pop, and I didn't share any with her. And she told me, well, I didn't want to have you in the first place. I'm probably never going to see you again. And so then he went on into the hospital. Said, I don't want to ever see you again. And he said that she wasn't on drugs at the time either. The little boy had only a grandfather or grandmother who was not well, and then the young person, the father that was helping him. He said, could you adopt me? And he said, no, I can't really do that. Then there was another little boy who said that he asked his mentor if he would if he could become his father. And he said, no. He said, but I will always be your best friend. So those are two of the programs. Gary mentioned the Weed and Seed program, which was started about 20 years ago. And the concept is simple. It's in the name. They're to weed out the crime, seed in good programs like Bruce Vander Sanden has been doing. As Gary mentioned, we applied several times. I think the Department of Justice finally got tired, and we described the great cooperation and how we work together. The department finally said, somebody go out to Cedar Rapids and see what it is they're talking about there all the time. And so they did come out, and they were so impressed with the community's support and cooperation that they did approve the Weed and Seed. And it was touch and go because we have a very low crime rate statistic. If you're a victim of any crime, it's too much. But for a city under 100,000, we're one of the lowest in the nation, and Iowa has a crime rate half as high as the rest of the nation. So they approved that. We worked along with it. In fact, Bruce then was the leader of the program and improved it to the point where the U.S. Department of Justice recognized him at the national level for his work in shepherding this program, and now they've asked him to take that information, that expertise all around the country. And he's mentoring 2 programs here now, Omaha on the west and Davenport, close to Tom on the east. So he's done an excellent job following in Gary's footsteps. Your financial support will help these programs continue, and your support is as important as violent crime is serious. An Iowa State professor and a Vanderbilt professor recently conducted studies on the cost of crime, and it's astounding. Murder is over $17 million. A rape is over $400,000. An armed robbery is over $300,000, and aggravated assault's $145,000, and a burglary is down to $141,000. The support is continued on, and the community leaders here are really the heroes that we're talking about tonight, certainly not me. They all have been deeply involved, and we have a community that is unique in cooperation and working together. I've been in lots of different places and worked with lots of different groups, but none compare with what we have right here. I know what has been started will continue, and I also know that this is not about me. And if I ever kind of stray away from that position, as Al said, Ellen will remind me of one day I was in Dev's Deli and paying for a malt and a sandwich, and the clerk said, "Say, did you have a son that was in Iraq?" And I said, "Yeah, I did." She said, "Was he back?" I said, "Well, yes, thank you, he is. Been back a while now." "Well, now, was he with the state government, doing something with the state government?" I said, "Yeah, he was a state senator, but didn't seek re-election, so he's not there anymore. He works in Des Moines now." And she said, "Well, were you somebody?" No, I said, "No, I wasn't somebody, but I know lots of somebody."